so right now, Andrew Tate, and he has his brother. His brother's name is Tristan. The Tate brothers. They are actually in a holding cell in Romania right now. They've been arrested by the Romanian government, I guess, and are being investigated. Is what the story is being investigated on charges of human trafficking, rape, that type of thing. This has been very interesting to follow because I personally have never seen so much fake news in my life. Like there's been a lot of confusion when I mean objective fake news, like he's out already and he's not really. Like that's been going all over the place because there was 3 months ago he was taken downtown for like a 12-hour thing and he got out really quickly. And so there's a ton of clips that are surfacing of like he's out and like so many people think he is, and he's just not. So there's like a ton of confusion around it. And so you see all of a sudden the echo chambers in place, right? That's really clear. But another thing that I think is notable is the disbelief in that he actually has anything to do with human trafficking. Yeah. And so I saw a poll. I've seen several different polls, but I saw one just recently where 75,000 people had voted in it at the time that I looked at it. And they said, is Andrew Tate guilty of any of the charges? And do you guys want to take a guess on the percentage that said yes and the percentage that said no in the vote?
I'm going to say 93% no.
Did I already show you this?
I was gonna say 75% said no.
It's actually 93%.
Oh my gosh. I may have voted in that poll.
Don't say that too loud, bro.
That's hilarious. Man. Yeah, so out of 75,000 people that voted, 93% said, I don't think he's done anything human trafficking wise. That was like loud, guys. I mean, This is whether he has or whether he has not, the way that the public understands things to be it's alarming. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no way that he could be involved in that type of thing. So that's alarming in and of itself. And rightfully so. However, I want to speak on this for a second because I have a lot of friends who are in this world of fighting human trafficking, exposing the sex industry for what it is, showing and trying to educate culture on what modern day slavery looks like, what modern day human trafficking looks like. And so I've had friends and I've been involved with that ministry for years and years back when I was in Kansas City. So here's the issue. Is our view and understanding of what human trafficking looks like is still so much rooted in women in cages. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
This is the majority, and women being abducted into vans and being sold in these black market places. And all of that exists and all of that is human trafficking. But the great majority of human trafficking actually is much more out in the open and is much more underneath our nose and is in our everyday life. And I truly believe that I want to show you a clip or two, and I want to show you why I do believe that Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate are involved with a form of human trafficking. Wow. And I haven't really talked about this with these boys, so we can have a discussion about it. But I want to point out some things that I recognize that I would not have recognized unless I had been what I would call a trained eye in this particular area. So let's just pull up a clip or two and then we can talk about this. Sound good?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? That it was your birthday coming up. I'm going to be gone. So I bought you flowers. I express my deepest sentiments towards you.
Thank you. That's nice.
It's a birthday hug. I can still get a birthday hug. Birthday hug. Christmas time. So there's a cake track, so there's some champagne drunky. And here's some flowers.
Oh, right.
Let me know how stupid you anymore.
Hey, flowers.
Flowers. I think this is.
For you.
Look.
Okay, so that's one of them. I want to show one more, and then we'll talk about them, okay? And I'm going to break down some of the things that I see.
I stayed at the house in Romania for a week. Where were the trafficked women? When I did the emergency meeting, I brought 2 girls that I met on the street, and 2 girls were just waiting on the couch the whole time. Girls would be begging to come in there. The first day I was there, Tristan had kicked a girl out the day before because she started wilding out and misbehaving, and then she was begging to come back. She barely even spoke English. She was like, Tristan, Tristan. And then the next day, after he's telling me this whole story, she's like, this girl, I had to kick her out. She was misbehaving. And then she comes back, and the whole time she's like, sorry, Tristan. I'm sorry, Tristan. I stayed at the house in.
Okay. 2 clips. Let's talk about them, okay? So it's interesting because both of these clips are an attempt to defend the Tates, okay? One of them is like, let me show you how amazing this billionaire treats this woman, right? And Andrew Tate's brother, Tristan, okay? And then the other one was one of their friends who's an internet, just a voice on the internet, who's defending them, saying, I know them personally. Here's what I saw when I visited them. And both of these videos, I believe, have helped me see that there is indeed trafficking going on, in my opinion. And I think that they're actually incriminating videos. Here's why, okay? Let me just point out a couple of things. In the first video with Tristan Tate and the girl, it's her birthday. There's this concept, there's this book that we know of in the industry that fights human trafficking. We know the book is called actually Pimpology. Okay. It's written by a pimp for pimps. And basically, I mean, you can buy it on Amazon. I've read different portions of it. It is extremely evil. Okay.
Wow.
But it basically teaches men how to control women. Okay. And it teaches pimps how to control their women who are working for them in prostitution, and teaches them how to traffic women. And so whether they're in their vicinity, and it also teaches them how to traffic women, and they can be out of state or even countries away, and they still will do everything that they want them to do. There's different strategies in there, like impregnate the girl, and then she'll be connected to you in this emotional and very tangible physical way, because now they have a kid with you, and there's this weird mix of emotions and all of that, but also now you have something to blackmail them with, right?
Wow.
There's a lot of different strategies and like that in there, but people in the industry use this book as a form of discipleship to teach them how to traffic women. Here's another thing that is also emphasized that I see in these videos, and this specifically in the one with the girl with the birthday. The way that he subtly insults her while celebrating her. Okay. Some people might think that this is just, it's just how they play, the playful banter or whatever. But you see, he's like celebrating her, right, with these gifts. And in doing so, slipping in these he called her fatso at one point, and then he called her drunkie at one point. This is actually a very subtle thing that is taught in the book to be able to control women, is put them down while basically like making them feel small while making them feel valued with you personally.
Wow.
So
That's disgusting.
So it is disgusting. And so even a lot of times these girls subconsciously don't even realize what's happening, but they feel like very devalued and then valued by this one particular person all at the same time. You see also, it was very awkward to me watching that video, because he even like hugs her and she feels very timid, like, and like, but yet she's like pulled in by the gifts or whatever. And the fact that he values her. Also an indicator too, is she is, and people might think, you can reject this stuff if you want to, but I'm just going to point this out. These are things we look for. She is not fluent in English. Okay. And so And both videos, both the one that he was interacting with her, Tristan was interacting with her, and then the other one when their friend Sneeko was defending him, they're describing these women who are like, oh, Tristan, oh, let me come back in. It's these women who don't speak good English.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the Tates in and of themselves are amazing, like talkers. They're charismatic and they can talk well or whatever. But one of the things that is taught amongst the human trafficking world is bringing these different women out of their original societies and contexts into these other contexts where they have less power, where they can't navigate through the world by themselves because they don't speak the language well, or they don't know the society and that culture right. And so you see like in that one he described, they sent these girls away and then they came back begging, please don't let us come back and let us be with you. It's because they are their pimps, essentially.
Wow.
They are the ones who take care of them. They are the one who, yes, they provide everything they need, right? Any money they need, they can have access to anything in the house, but it belongs to me and you belong to me, type of thing. And so when they kick them out, where would they go? Do you want them to go back to their society? Usually they're pulled out of really bad situations and promised a better life. And they do have a better life as long as they comply with.
Can I just speak? Okay, so that I see that. I definitely see that parallel. That's something that I haven't seen before. The only reason why I, on the opposite side, was thinking that they hadn't was because there are multiple women who have come out who are very close to the Tates, who have been in with the police, and they write a statement of what their experience has been, and the police will not accept the statement because the statement does not incriminate the Tates. And so they send them back, and in some cases even detain them until they get a favorable statement to their investigation, which what that tells me is that the police are still looking for evidence. With the widespread nature of this, I haven't seen, like, it would be very easy to present real evidence if it is the case that he's a trafficker. It would be very, very easy. And one thing I know about the powers that be that want to destroy Andrew Tate, they know human trafficking, and they also don't really care too much about it because we saw that with the Jeffrey Epstein case. But they know exactly how to find the evidence. They know exactly how to portray the evidence. So the fact that the people who are testifying are actually giving favorable testimony to the defense of the Tates, and they are not allowing it to be admissible in the investigation, tells me two things. One, they're still looking for evidence. And two, they are doctoring the evidence toward their desired outcome. So it's not an honest case. So what you just said is it's the first piece of information that I've seen that I'm like, that does actually make a whole lot of sense. And I can see that characteristic. I think it will be interesting to watch this thing play out because all that we have at the moment is very small clippets of hearsay. But if you only have very small clips of hearsay, at what point do we uphold the value that we have in Western society that a person is innocent until proven guilty? And if, like, for someone this boisterous, this in your face, this amount of video coverage of his life and existence, it should not be hard to prove that he's a trafficker. It should not be difficult at all. And so, so that's my perspective for the alternative.
I mean, I love what you said, bro. I want to comment on two things that you said. Number one is I want to acknowledge the complication around what's happening right now. I truly do not believe that the Romanian government cares nearly as much about if there is human trafficking going on as they are saying they do. I don't actually believe this is why he's being taken in. I think they are using this to try and bring him down because he is such an influential person. So I want to make that statement. I think that's what it is more about, because you mentioned people like Jeffrey Epstein. There are people so high up in governments and influence who are trafficking women and trafficking children and everything else. If people really cared about that, people would be falling down from society and leadership all over the place. And so I don't think this is the primary reason why he's being taken in. But number two, I want to just say this. When I was in Russia in the summer of 2018 with Exodus Cry, we were fighting human trafficking for the entire time. We had undercover work going on, and we would gather together, or we would meet up with these women who we knew were being trafficked, but we would gather evidence. And over the course of the weeks, we actually began to work with some of them, putting different recording devices in their stuffed animals, them taking them back to their house, all in this effort to expose their traffickers, right? They complied with us. They wanted to be free. And we found a house where about 10, 15 women, I believe, were all being trafficked and lived in the same place, right? By the end of our time there, we had enough stuff we brought in the police and we busted this place, okay?
Wow.
We
That's
took
so good.
every single person in that house was taken down to the downtown to the jail cell or whatever to take down statements. And Jordan and Kev, every single woman that we worked with and who was helping us expose everything, when they got down there, they all denied that they were being trafficked in any way.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Every single one of them. And I mean, we couldn't believe it. We were shocked. I mean, it was like so emotional for us because this was their key. This was their ticket out, right?
Yeah.
And yet they all denied and they all defended these men.
Wow.
Who they lived with, and talked about how they wanted to be there and they loved them and all this stuff.
Wow, that's a good point.
And so, I mean, all that being said, we can't necessarily take these even testimonies from the girls who are close to them, defending them, because that is also a sign of trafficking. Is a lot of times the victims will
psychological
defend.
Yeah.
And because there's so much stuff going on. I mean, we knew in those cases, the pimps and stuff would tell the girls, if you ever tried to turn on me, I'll kill your family. Wow. They would do, a lot of girls were from Nigeria and Ghana, and they would do even fake voodoo ceremonies over them, saying, if you ever go against me or you ever try to leave, all I have to do is close my eyes and I can kill your family, or I'll close my eyes and I'll know where you are. So these girls are deeply, deeply enslaved to a point where some will even defend their very own trafficker. So that's why I'm seeing some of this. I'm like, man, there very well might be trafficking going on, because at first I felt that same thing. I'm like, the girls are defending him. This isn't it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's not necessarily an indication that trafficking isn't happening.
Good point. Wow.